The wisdom of Seneca's quote speaks to a universal truth that transcends time, culture, and circumstance. The mind wields immense power over our experience of life. When Seneca observed that we suffer more often in imagination than in reality, he was not just making an observation about the human tendency to worry, but offering a profound insight into the workings of our own consciousness. This insight, as relevant today as it was in ancient Rome, invites us to examine the ways in which our thoughts shape our emotional landscape, and to consider how we might reclaim agency over our internal world. At the heart of Seneca's message is the recognition that the mind can be both an ally and an adversary. Our thoughts have the capacity to elevate us, to inspire courage, creativity, and resilience. But they can also become the source of our greatest torment, especially when we allow anxieties about the future to take root and grow unchecked. We have all experienced moments when a looming event, a presentation at work, a difficult conversation, a medical appointment, seems to cast a shadow far larger than the event itself. In anticipation, our minds conjure up a multitude of scenarios, many of them negative, and we begin to suffer long before anything has actually happened. This phenomenon is not merely a quirk of human psychology. It is a testament to the mind's remarkable ability to imagine, project, and anticipate. Yet, as Seneca points out, this ability can be a double-edged sword. When we dwell excessively on what might go wrong, we magnify our fears, sometimes to the point where the imagined pain becomes more acute than any real outcome. We pay the price of suffering twice, once in anticipation, and once perhaps in reality. Often, the reality never materializes, and all that worry is revealed to have been for nothing. The antidote that Seneca and the Stoic philosophers propose is deceptively simple. Focus on the present moment. The present is the only time in which we have any real control, any ability to act, respond, or shape outcomes. The future, by contrast, is a realm of infinite possibilities, most of which will never come to pass. By anchoring ourselves in the present, we can direct our energy and attention to what is within our sphere of influence, rather than squandering it on hypothetical scenarios. This approach does not mean ignoring the future altogether. There is a crucial distinction between prudent preparation and fruitless worrying. Anticipating potential challenges, considering what might go wrong, and making plans to address those possibilities is an important part of responsible living. The Stoics themselves advocated for a practice known as premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils, in which one contemplates possible difficulties in order to prepare for them emotionally and practically. The key difference is that this preparation is active and constructive, whereas worry is passive and draining. Perspective is another vital element in managing the mind's tendency to exaggerate threats. When we step back and view our challenges from a broader vantage point, we often find that they are not as dire as they once appeared. Time and distance have a way of shrinking obstacles and diminishing fears. Many of the things we once agonized over, an awkward encounter, a missed opportunity, a minor failure, fade into insignificance as life moves on. Recognizing this can help us take our worries less seriously in the moment and approach them with a sense of proportion. The Stoic tradition, of which Seneca is a leading figure, is grounded in the idea that we should strive to live in accordance with nature, reason, and virtue. Central to this philosophy is the distinction between what is within our control and what is not. Our thoughts, judgments, and actions are within our control. External events, other people's opinions, and the outcomes of our efforts are not. By focusing our attention on what we can influence and letting go of attachment to what we cannot, we cultivate a sense of tranquility and resilience. This does not mean becoming indifferent to the world or to our own well-being. Rather, it is about developing a kind of mental discipline, a capacity to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. When faced with adversity, the Stoic approach is to ask, what is within my power to change? What can I do right now to address this situation? And, just as importantly, what must I accept as beyond my control? In doing so, we free ourselves from the tyranny of imaginary suffering and reclaim our peace of mind. To illustrate the practical application of Seneca's insight, consider a few scenarios. Imagine a student awaiting the results of an important exam. In the days leading up to the announcement, the student's mind is flooded with anxious thoughts. What if I fail? What will my parents think? Will this ruin my future? The suffering is real, even though nothing has yet happened. If the student can recognize that these fears are products of imagination and bring their focus back to the present, perhaps by reviewing what they have learned or engaging in activities that bring them joy, they can reduce their distress and approach the outcome with greater equanimity. Or consider someone facing a major life transition, such as moving to a new city or starting a new job. The mind is quick to generate worries about fitting in, making friends, or succeeding in unfamiliar circumstances. Yet, as many people discover, the reality is often far less daunting than anticipated. By meeting each day as it comes and dealing with challenges as they arise, we often find that we are more capable and adaptable than we imagined. Even in more serious situations, such as health concerns or financial difficulties, the principle holds. Worrying endlessly about what might happen rarely changes the outcome. It only saps our strength and clouds our judgment. By focusing on practical steps, seeking medical advice, making a budget, asking for help, we can take constructive action and preserve our mental well-being. Of course, it is natural to feel anxious or uncertain in the face of the unknown. The goal is not to eliminate these feelings altogether, but to prevent them from dominating our experience. Mindfulness practices, such as meditation or journaling, can help us observe our thoughts without becoming entangled in them. By cultivating awareness of the present moment, we can learn to let go of worries that serve no purpose and redirect our attention to what truly matters. Seneca's wisdom is echoed in many other philosophical and spiritual traditions. The Buddhist concept of dukkha, or suffering, is closely tied to the mind's tendency to cling to desires and fears. Mindfulness teachers encourage us to be here now, to witness our thoughts without judgment, and to recognize that most of our suffering is self-generated. Even in modern psychology, techniques such as cognitive behavioral therapy are based on the premise that changing our thoughts can change our feelings and behaviors. In practical terms, applying Seneca's insight requires ongoing effort and self-reflection. It means noticing when we are caught in a spiral of worry and gently bringing ourselves back to the present. It means distinguishing between what is real and what is imagined, between productive preparation and pointless rumination. It means developing the courage to face uncertainty with openness and the humility to accept what we cannot change. Ultimately, the power of the mind is not something to be feared, but to be harnessed. By becoming aware of our mental habits and choosing where to direct our attention, we can transform our experience of life. We can learn to suffer less in imagination and to live more fully in reality. This is the enduring gift of Seneca's wisdom, a reminder that, while we cannot always control what happens to us, we can always choose how we respond. And in that choice lies our greatest freedom.